So this is just a little bit of a recording of one of our hangouts that we do on a weekly basis. And I thought it was a real great way to showcase how you can take a problem as a developer and you are trying to solve it to help alleviate some of the friction point or the pain points. And we're going to be talking about the Army Flight Logbook that I built back in my Army days of flying. I thought it would be really great to share in case you missed our live hangout that we did. All right. So, anyways, let's go ahead and dive right into the interview. All right. So, one of the things that is probably like one of my prized coding possessions here. And it's something that it took me when I was learning how to program a long time, but I learned a lot with this, right? And
Mhm.
one of the things that whenever you are when you're looking at becoming a developer, you're always trying to solve problems, right? And one of my problems that I
Yeah.
had when I got to Korea was that tracking your flight hours was important, but it seemed like everybody was doing it on an old-fashioned whiteboard. So after you get done flying, obviously you would go to the maintenance manual or maintenance logbooks and log it digitally. But the company, they wanted you to walk over to a whiteboard and fill out and update your hours that you've flown for that month, and so on. Because when you're flying in the Army, you have to always maintain currency, and there's a certain amount of hours that you have to fly within a given period of time. And if you don't meet those, then you go what we call as uncurrent, and then you have to get on a program with an instructor pilot to have them bless you off again when it could have
Yeah.
been right. And so, in between going to the field and spending some time back at the house, I created a program that ran on your desktop. And when I was out of the military, I really wanted to make it a web based program. And this is out there now. It's being used by over 1,000 aviators. And I did put a paywall behind it. So it's like they do have to pay, but it's like a one time payment kind of thing. And
Mhm.
it helps support with the basics of it. And
Nice.
yeah, so I learned React, and this here is a React project. It's using MySQL as far as the database, and it utilizes a Node.js Express for the backend. And so, like I said, it was a little bit time consuming. I'd say this website probably took me in my spare time maybe 6, 8 months to kind of do, and it was all by myself, and I didn't have like a team of developers try to go with it. But like I said, I used it as a learning experience to kind of go through. And so it has a basic login, basic password for logging in. And like once you logged in, I wanted to make it super easy for pilots to kind of get onboarded, which is, hey, here's a little profile page, right? And let's put in every
Oh,
single piece of information that you might need or what, right? Starting off. And I know none of this might make sense for non-aviators, but
yeah.
like it's so basically I took the idea. I was like, all right, let me look on the whiteboard what we are tracking, and
Uh-huh.
let's put it in the system, right? And so
I
you
love it.
what are some of the basics, right? And so it's like name, you come in here, you can update the dates and stuff that you would like to track for your flights and stuff. And this is always continuously being updated. I have a Facebook page of aviators, and they will come and put in suggestions. And then, if I think it's a really good idea, and if it's something that could be useful for others, then yeah, I'm going to put it in there. But I wanted to,
Nice.
yeah, I wanted to kind of keep a logbook of things that we fly in the aircraft. So if we come over here,
Mhm.
we get a nice little tabular data of, hey, these are the flight strips basically. And yeah, like I haven't flown
Mhm.
since 2014. That's when I was getting out. But you can kind of see that, hey, we got this nice little tabular data over here. We have a little pie graph breaking down the mode for the flight data. We can come in here, we can adjust dates and kind of filter these things out. And, again, some of these things were feature requests from active pilots like, hey, I would like to have a CSV download. Hey, cool. And the
Mhm.
beauty about adding some of these features is I didn't have to recreate the wheel, meaning like
Yeah.
there's packages out there that kind of help you do this. Like they've already done the hard work, and now you just have to supply it with the data, for example. And that's the same thing
Yeah.
with these pie charts and these graphs that you're going to see. Is I didn't create it. I supplied it the numerical value. I crunched the data to give it to these charts. And for example, like this is JS charts. I forget what I'm using for the CSV, but again, you can download a CSV. It will put everything that we keep track of into a nice full CSV so that they can open it up in Excel. Some people, they want to generate a PDF. So I have to write the stuff for the actual generation of the PDF. I just have to supply it with the data and where do I want that data to go. So it was very easy to kind of implement. And I keep two separate logbooks. Like as a pilot, you'd want to keep track of what you fly in the aircraft. And then you also want to keep track of what you fly in the simulator. So they each have their own, if you would think about it as an Excel sheet, they have their own sheet each. So they're not sharing the
Nice.
same database table. They're sharing different sheets. So, and then people were also saying, hey, well, I'd like to add flights that were not only in my own aircraft, but like aircraft that I've flown in the past. And so we have the ability on here to, because in the Army, you're given a primary aircraft to use.
Mhm.
And but you've trained in other airframes. And so you have the ability to add more airframes here. And if you need to add something to the log, you just come up here and the little thing pops up and you can choose what mode you flew in, what kind of training did you complete, and so on. It's a nice little feature, I guess. And then I have like this all just looking at it'll start building out the charts here. But we can go, hey, what's the breakdown for the airframe? What's the breakdown for the model that you flew? What about the duty? Because like as a pilot, you're just a regular pilot. You have a pilot in command hours, unit trainer hours, instructor pilot hours, and so on. So as an aviator, you want to maintain all of those and take a look. And it kind of got this like neat little data to kind of show you like how many days did you spend up in the air kind of thing. And so it was a neat little breakdown there.
From a design perspective, I love how you've gathered in those army colors and being able to add those in there to make it feel connected to the niche that this is fulfilling. Like it's not just like there's intent behind what
Yeah.
you've chosen there as well. Mhm.
Yeah, and Material UI makes it super easy to maintain
Uh-huh.
color themes throughout. So you can just reference it. Hey, this is my primary color. This is my secondary color.
So in seeing the now on mobile option there as well, was that an add-on that somebody had requested, or was that part of the original build out that for when you put that together?
Yeah, great question. So this one came way later. So I
Okay,
did I
cool.
did the web. Like it works. I mean, everybody has a browser, right? And so it's always hard to determine. Hey, do you want to go strictly mobile? You want to have a dedicated app, or do you not want to have a dedicated app, right? So for the longest time, I was like, you know what? I was like, a web app is perfectly fine for somebody to go on mobile and do. And
Yeah,
the thing that I might have overlooked, and I see it now, and I really love that I have a mobile app available in the App Store, is that you get traffic that you might not have gotten before.
yeah,
Meaning that, hey, Apple has their own search engine, and if
yep.
somebody's looking for a flight logbook, it will show up in the searches. Otherwise, I'm at the mercy of Google to have my page show up.
Mhm.
So yeah,
You're at the mercy of Apple too, but
you're
when
at the
it
mercy of
gets you,
Apple.
you're at the mercy of two different. We'll get the people. So
Yeah, and it's on. And so I chose React Native because it was like a super duper easy transition of knowing React and
Mhm.
going into React Native. It's almost like a one-for-one transfer of information. But the nuances of React Native might throw a few people off. So I did have to get skilled up from the documentation, and I took a little miniature Udemy course and
Huh.
went through it, and I was like, oh, that's cool. Let's go ahead and do this. And it took me a lot less time to make because the back end really didn't need altered. You're just getting the data and you're displaying it. So it went really quick as far as that goes. I want to say maybe it took maybe 2 months of in the part-time of completing the application and to get it to look decent. And
Nice.
I try to utilize the same colors that we used for the main website to get that familiarity. And then we also are also what kind of gave it a little bit of a boost was I did go to Reddit into an aviation group specifically for Army aviators and made a post. And I was like, hey, I was like, this is what I built. I'm looking for feedback. And obviously, I was a former pilot, and being in the military, people always want to help take care of each other, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so, and people bought it, and they're like, "Yeah, that's really great," and they left really great reviews on it. So that kind of gave me a little bit of a confidence boost of like, "Hey, well, I made something that's being used." And I mean, if you look at the database, you can see that it's actively being used on a daily basis by multiple people all the time. One of the
That's so cool.
yeah, one of the I guess one of the one of the flack that you get as a developer is like, well, it doesn't do this, right? And so it did not allow for, because like sometimes you have these aviators that have been in the business for 15 years. And that's a lot of time. That's a lot of flight hours, and you don't want to manually put those in. And so
Mhm.
before I was just like, hey, let's, just total it up, do a bulk deposit of hours, and there you go. But then I was like, you know what? I was like, let me make this a little bit easier. And I was able to talk to the Army personnel that's in charge of exporting data. And I was like, hey, I was like, can you give me an example data file that you guys would give your aviators? And that way I can now take that file that they get, automatically convert it and map it out to match what I need for this. And it just makes it so much easier. So all they have to do is they upload their what they get from their flight ops, and
Mhm.
they upload it. Now, I personally, I know I could set this up as an automation, but I really want, I care for the data, and I don't want like erroneous data going into the system. And so that is something that I do manually. Is I take what they give me, and it's an automation for me, but I check it for validity because not everybody sends the correct export. And so, anyways, it's a barrier that I'm willing to take on as an owner of the website. Is hey, you give me your document. I wrote scripts to parse it and map it, and that way it all gets mapped properly and it gets into the database properly. So, but yeah, they have the option to buy it, and it gives me extra money too. Another takeaway from this is you can create something that is useful that you can potentially make some money while you're, if you are looking for another job. And the other point to this is it gives you a talking piece that's not your average to-do list that you made if you are just starting out and you're looking to become that, become that developer and you get that interview that you have. This gives you a talking piece to talk with.
This also speaks to something that I think about quite a bit of how do you know what to make? What is your parallel passion? What is something that you are familiar with, that you have information and knowledge about that's not strictly tech, that you can then put your tech skills to use to amplify it and find that spot where they cross, and be able to use your tech in your niche of interest. And so I wouldn't have known how to build this because I wasn't in there. I don't have any of the information there that's needed. And so because you were there and you did have that knowledge of this is what is needed for this, and you had that whiteboard that you were able to take, and what data are they already tracking? What data is important for this person who this app is being created for? And because of that, it is useful for them. It's not just hey, I was in an airplane for X amount of hours. It has all the things that they need to really be beneficial in their tracking. So it's not just fluff.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like
Mhm.
you got to find finding that niche and something that you feel like that you are an expert at, right? And that you know the
Uh-huh.
pain points. And I can't tell you how many times, even as a developer, and you see a ticket for something that you have to create. The reason that you have that ticket is to make somebody else's job easier, right? And so this thing I mean, how quick is it now for somebody, they're done with their flight, pull out their phone, log into the, they don't even have to log into the app. It knows who they are, and they can enter in their information, and boop, it's saved, right?
Mhm.
And this year, again, it was brought up by people. Yeah, all these features are really neat, and it's the whole company tracking aspect of this as well. And so now you can log in as think of it as a team lead and take a look at your
Mhm.
squad, and you'll be able to see data based upon your aviators. I mean, they're already using the system, and
Uh-huh.
they're able to pull their data in and evaluate it. Who needs the extra training? Who
Oh,
doesn't?
that's so much better than a whiteboard, right?
Yeah, yeah. Like this is a whiteboard, and so that's what I really wanted to try and get at with this. And the other thing is, I felt like as the Army, maybe my little piece of it is to help save money, because like when you go out there and have to fly with an instructor pilot, when you go on current, to me, you're wasting money, tax dollars,
Mhm.
right? That could have been spent more with investing in training something else rather than, hey, you're not qualified to fly at night anymore. You have to go fly 3 hours with me with an instructor pilot in order to bless you off for flying at night again, right? Because
Mhm.
it's a safety thing, right? Like if you haven't flown
Yeah.
at night for X amount of time, then you're no longer safe to fly, and
Yeah.
that's why they need that instructor pilot. But like if you're able to track that personally and see it from a company view, that's where I was like, hey, this can save you money,
Absolutely.
save money, save time, and not waste the instructor pilot's time or effort. Yeah, this is just, I always joke around with people that are like, hey, which one's you? Hey, this isn't me. I found this image.
I was totally searching for you in that picture too.
Yeah, yeah. Back when mustaches were legal. Yeah, definitely not me. But I did use it because it kind of matches the theme
Oh, it does.
of
It really
aviation.
brings you into the feel of the app, the reason for the app, and who would be this would be important for. So, kiddos, this is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, and I remember talking about this in interviews and stuff. And they're like, "Hey, do you mind if we take a look at the code?" And I was like, "Well, I tell you, we can take a look at it." And I feel like every household has like a junk drawer where you're like, well, you can just stuff stuff in there and hope nobody has to look at it, But it serves a purpose. I was like, "This,
Mhm.
you're getting ready to look at my junk drawer, and I hope that we're in the judgment-free zone here." But I would definitely, if I were to look back at what I coded back then and know what I know now, I would refactor a lot of the stuff. But right now it's like working, and sometimes when you refactor, you introduce bugs that weren't there. And so it's just been sitting. But
And that's the thing to be aware with is if you're going into legacy companies as well and working on their code, sometimes it is built on their, the first or second attempt or whatever on building the application. And it's like if you touch it, you might break it. But also they may be using things that need to be updated and need to be refactored. So it's just, anyway. Yeah,
yeah,
I get it.
yeah, so
It looks
that's
great though.
baby.
This is fantastic.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it's my baby, and like I said, I love going in there, kind of making new features, new add-ons and stuff, and especially with AI, it makes it so much quicker to kind of go through it and make these features better. And
Mhm.
I tested this out when I was creating the company dashboard, and I'd say maybe this was maybe 3 months ago. And so I want to say that if I were to put a time on it to get the company tracking to work functionally, because this was both a back end deal as well as a front end deal, because I had to make new endpoints on the back end in order to crunch all the numbers and get me the data. And then now I have to display the data. I want to say maybe it took me, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 days and this is in the part time capacity, and just let let AI kind of help work its magic with creating it and getting it styled right and making sure that
Mhm.
the data gets displayed properly. So yeah, it was fun to get it to get it to that point. And part of me was like, oh, do I really want to get this into it right now? Is this the right time? And like just going back and forth with AI really helped out, make it go a lot quicker.
Nice.
So yeah, that is it.